guys, so the very first thing that I do is lay out a towel, a dry towel, and this is where I'm going to be placing the brushes to dry once they are all clean. So I just lay this towel out so it's already there, and and then I use 3 mason jars because I do have a lot of brushes. So I have 3 mason jars, okay, and then I just kind of set my brushes out on the towels like this, and then I'm gonna start running some warm water. I want the water to get nice and warm, and then I'm gonna fill all 3 of these jars up halfway, not all the way. So I'm gonna fill half the jar with warm water, and then I'm gonna put, I'm gonna be using Dawn soap to put into the water to make it soapy water, and then we're gonna just let the brushes sit for a few hours. Now, sometimes I let, if they are really dirty, like my foundation brushes, for example, like this one, if they're really dirty and it has been a while, I'll generally let them sit overnight, so that they really get clean. So let's see how they do first off. So I'm gonna take the mason jar and I'm gonna put a good amount of Dawn soap into the mason jar, and then I'm gonna fill it up halfway, okay? And then that's one. So filling up the other one. Y'all can see the sink over here, I think. So filling it up halfway over there, and then again putting a good amount of Dawn soap in that jar. I'll just kind of sit them right here. You guys can see them. Okay, you guys, so this is pretty much my layout. These are all of my brushes that I'm going to be cleaning today. And so again, I have 3 mason jars here. I have filled them up halfway with warm water and Dawn dish soap. And I'm also going to add just a tablespoon of distilled white vinegar in each of the jars. So just a tablespoon of this. There. Here and in there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna mix that together. Okay, just stirring that up. Okay, now you can use pretty much any soap, even baby soap, baby wash soap, but I like to use the Dawn vinegar. Not Dawn vinegar, Dawn soap. So what I'm going to do is, I don't like to mix my foundation brushes in along with my my blush brushes or my powder brushes. So I generally take I'll use the word dirtier brushes, and I put them in a jar by themselves, because I don't want to mix the foundation brushes along with the powder brushes, because the powder brushes, they're not as dirty. Clearly they're not like foundation brushes. So I put those in a separate jar by themselves. Now, like these ones, they're not as dirty as well, so I'm going to put those in a separate jar. I'm going to put this one in here along with the other ones. Now, I like to use a mason jar because it kind of helps the brushes to stay straight up. So these ones, these brushes here, these are like concealer brushes. I'm gonna put those in there along with the foundation brushes because they are just a tad bit dirtier than the other ones. So again, I'll put the smaller brushes in here all with the foundation brushes. And I am just gonna let these sit for about 20 minutes. So again, here's another foundation brush. It's a little bit more, it's full of foundation, so it's hard. It has hardened. We're gonna let that sit in there too. And then these ones, you guys, I got a lot of brushes. I got too many brushes actually. my Sephora brush, I'm gonna put, even though it's a foundation brush, I'm gonna put that one in here with my blush brushes, just because of the way the, you know, the bristles are. They're a little different. So I'm gonna put them in there with that brush over here. Now, these are angled brushes. These are powder brushes. These are blush brushes, blending brushes, so on and so forth. So I'm going to let these sit for, let's see if I can get this one in here. It's the last one. Let me see. Okay, looks like I'm gonna have to invest in a bigger jar, you guys. But for now, this is what we have. So I'm gonna let these sit for 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back and take them out and rinse them out. And then, you know, we'll go ahead and show you guys the next process. Okay, you guys, it has been 20 minutes, so it is time for me to take the brushes out. I generally don't like to let them sit any longer than that, because I do like to fill my water halfway up, or half the glass or half the jar, but I don't want the water to seep through into the handle of my brushes, so I don't let them sit any longer than about 20 minutes. So as you can see, with them sitting that long, you can see that the water has obviously, the color of the water has obviously changed. It is no longer clear, that is for sure, and no longer clean, and that is what we want. So it is time to rinse the brushes out. So we're gonna head over to the sink, and let me show you how this guys came out nice and clean. Okay, you guys, so I'm gonna talk a little loud because the water is running, so I don't know if you guys can hear me very well, but I'm gonna do my best to talk a little bit louder over the water. So the first thing I do is just run my brushes under the sink, under the water. And for some of them, like I say, my foundation brushes, they are a little bit dirtier than the other ones. I am a brown skinned woman, so I do have to use darker foundation, and that alone, you know, can kind of get into the bristles and make it a little bit harder to clean them out. So when that happens, I like to take a bar of soap, just a regular bar of soap. Today I'm using the Irish Spring soap, and I like to go through and just kind of get the bristles. See there, see how there's still some makeup in there? You can see that the soap color is changing as well. So I just like to go through and kind of just rub the brush onto the bar of soap here and try to get the rest of that makeup out of there. So then I'm just gonna kind of lightly take my hands and massage the brush, massage the bristles to try to get the majority of that makeup out of there so it is nice and clean. And then rinsing the brush again, making sure that those bristles are clean. So now I can tell that the majority of the foundation is out of the brush. So I'm gonna do that one more time. And as you can see, the soap is no longer changing color. So there is no more makeup into this brush, and it is ready to be set aside. Okay. So just rinsing it out and making sure that it's nice and clean. There's no more soap in there. And I do like to squeeze my brushes out and shape them and form them back in the form that they were when I first purchased them. And then now I am just going to, actually, this is a little slippery, so I'm gonna rinse this one again just to make sure I got all the soap out. Okay, so as you can see here as well, I have my towel kind of folded, double folded here, because I'm gonna lay my brushes slightly up. So if there's any water that is left over in the brushes, it can run down and out onto the towel. So I'm gonna just lay the brush flat there and move on to the next brush. So again, just rinsing it out into the water here. This one looks fairly good. Doesn't look like there's a lot of makeup left on it, but I'm gonna repeat the same process just to be sure. So that one looks okay. I do see a little changing there. The soap, the bubbles is changing just a little bit, but using this method will get all of the rest of that makeup right out of there. So still just a little left over in there, not as much as the last one, but that will make sure that all the soap is out. Okay, so that one looks good. Gonna do the same thing, squeeze the water out of the bristles and while shaping and forming the bristles as well. And then I'm gonna lay that one down and repeat. So I just repeat this process until all the brushes are nice and clean. Okay, you guys, so just using the same method, I'm on to jar number 2. Jar 1 is already cleaned out. So just moving on to my powder brushes, my blush brushes. Not too much makeup in these ones because they're not as dirty as my foundation brushes, but going to use the same method as well. So with the bar of soap, I am just going to go ahead and rub the bristles onto the soap. See, I don't see any change there. Doesn't look like any foundation is coming off onto the soap. So that tells me that this brush is clean. So just gonna give it a once through and then rinse it out. And this one is all done. Okay, so just making sure there's no more soap in the bristles, squeezing them out. And after I squeeze the bristles out, I like to give it one more once through just in case, just to make sure there's no soap in the brushes. Because it did sit in the Dawn, the soapy water with the Dawn soap and the distilled vinegar, and then also using the Irish Spring, there's quite a bit of soap. So definitely want to make sure that the soap is out of the brushes, all the water is out of the bristles as well. So I'm just going through. As I'm squeezing the brush out, I'm also kind of shaping it and forming it because that's how I want it to dry. So when the bristles do dry, I do want them to dry nice and formed. So this brush is already done. I can go ahead and lay that one onto my towel that is slightly tilted. So any water that would have got into the handle of the brush can drain out as well onto the towel. So now moving on to the next brush, going to do the exact same thing to this one. So just gonna rinse it underneath the water, cleaning it out. This one does look like it has a little bit of foundation, or it could be bronzer that's left in here. So you see how that is turning. You can see a little bit of bronzer left on that one that's turning the soap kind of a little dirty. So this is why I kind of use the soap method as well after letting it sit. Now this distilled vinegar and the Dawn soap, it's antibacterial, so this is why it is necessary to clean your brushes, not just with soap and water, because a lot of the brushes, they hold bacteria, and if you reuse them and don't get the bacteria out of them, it can cause breakouts on your face. So it can cause your face to break out. So I mean, because I could totally cut my time in half by just using the bar of soap to clean my brushes with, but I would not have removed any of the bacteria that would have gotten into the brushes as well. So that is the purpose of letting it sit into the Dawn soap, which is an antibacterial soap, and the distilled vinegar. So now, as you can see, when I go to rub the bristles onto the soap, it is nice and clean. There is no more makeup in this brush. So I can now go ahead and just rinse this one out and move on to the next one. Okay, just making sure there is no more soap in here at all. So this is just caring for our brushes. When applying these to our face, eyeliner brushes, applying them to our eyes. You don't want to get any eye infections. You don't want to break out with acne or things like that because of using dirty brushes or reusing dirty brushes. So it is necessary to clean your brushes at least once a week. Now, I do have a lot of brushes, so I cannot tell you that I clean them once a week. I will tell you that I use these ones once a week or so, but I generally just go to the next clean brush, and I'll just use the next clean brush and clean them all at the same time. I'll be honest with you, I did wait way too long this time to clean the brushes, so I have a lot more brushes to clean today than I generally do. So you can kind of see the bar of soap there. It is slightly dirty, which means there is just a little bit more makeup left in this brush. So now I'm just going to do the same method. See that? See the makeup on there? That soapy water is dirty from makeup, whether it's bronzer, concealer, foundation, setting powder. I did use the Maybelline Fit Me setting powder, so that is my skin tone, my skin complexion, and it's darker. So have to clean these out just to make sure that we got everything. So just do another test. Here you can see the soap is nice and clean. This brush is all done. And just go ahead and rinse the soap out of there and move on to the next brush. This is my Sephora foundation brush, and I can tell there's still a lot of makeup left into this one. So I'm gonna do the same thing. You kind of see the makeup coming off onto the soap. That lets me know that, see there? See all that makeup left on there? You want to get that out, sis. You definitely got to get that out. So just go through, apply the soap, clean it. I'll definitely have to use this one thick. See how that water is dirty? That soapy water is dirty. Got to go through and clean that out. I'll have to clean this one twice. Some of them they're dirtier than others. Now this one, it has dark bristles, so you can't really tell like the other ones. You know, they kind of have a little white mixed into them, so I can tell if it's clean or not. With the black bristles on this one, this little method here lets me know whether or not I've gotten all the foundation out. So see, now when I go to rub it onto the bar of soap, it's not as dirty. So definitely was able to get all the makeup out of this one. So if I go to squeeze it, then I can look at the soap and see if there's any makeup left in there. That lets me know whether or not I've gotten it good and clean. So last but not least, rinsing out my jar.
Okay, you guys, so here is my makeup brushes. Again, they are all done, all clean. I will leave them here to dry for a few hours. I can't leave them here overnight, unfortunately, because I do have children. And between my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old, honey, my brushes will be somewhere in a dollhouse or God knows where. So I can only leave them here for a few hours to kind of let them dry. but I do also take them upstairs and put them back in their stands and let them dry before I use them. So I won't use them for another day or so, but if you are able to let yours dry and, you know, stay out and dry overnight, then by all means do so. That is what is technically recommended. But I also just want to point out that you can see that I do have them tilted up. So there is a towel underneath that is folded to, you know, prop them up, because I do have them, you know, kind of in water for quite some time, for 20 minutes or so. So any water that might have got into the brush handle or, you know, up into the plastic area there, it will run down and dry out as well. So when I go to use my brushes, there's not water left over in the handle. And, you know, as I'm putting my makeup on, water is not running down, you know, onto my face out of the brush handle. So that is the purpose of having it propped up like that at an angle, so all the water can run down and run out. So that is a recommendation, and this is just how I do it. Everyone else have different methods, but this is how I, you know, I dry or clean my brushes as well. So anyway, you guys, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a like. Definitely subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment on how you clean your brushes. How often do you clean your brushes? Do you clean them once a week, every 2 weeks? You know, what is your method? Do you use the Dawn soap, distilled vinegar? I know some people use olive oil to clean their brushes. What is your method that you use to clean your brushes with? Or do you clean your brushes at all? Leave me a comment in the comment section and let me know. I am definitely very curious to find out. Always eager to learn different techniques and different methods that other people, you know, around the world, throughout the nation, what have you, what are other methods that other women are using. So anyway, you guys, that's my time. I hope you did enjoy the video. I hope you enjoyed this content. I will be doing another video on how I clean my beauty blender, so stay tuned to that. In the meantime, again, give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, and absolutely subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys. Love you. Take care and have a God bless day. Bye-bye.